Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we are going to be doing corner to corner. As we have here is a pattern, a corner to corner pattern. Now some patterns may look a little bit different. This is actually a mixture of a corner to corner pattern and a cross stitch pattern. So usually one would probably be over here, where in my instance my number one is over here. But it's not a problem because I don't really need to worry about the lines too much. Sorry, I didn't mean to knock the camera. I don't need to worry too much about the row numbers because I know I'm going to be starting from this point and I'm going to be doing from this corner to the top corner, which is currently out of camera because it's quite a big pattern. So this is the pattern we're going to be working on. Now as you can see, a lot of this is black. I'm not going to be using black yarn for this tutorial though, because you won't be able to see anything, and I think you do need to be able to see what we're doing. So in this instance I'm going to be using this Spearmint colour. I'm just going to raise this a bit because I know I'm going to end up knocking it. And we're just going to start with a slip knot there. Okay, now I can bring that down a bit. I will probably still knock it though. We started with a slip knot, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start with a chain 6. So we're going to chain 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And then we're going to count back 3. 1, 2, 3. And then in the 4th chain from the hook we're going to put in a double crochet. Now I will say that I am using American terms in this video, and then we're going to do a double crochet in the next chain and then a double crochet in the next chain. So we had 6 chains. We've got 3 chains here and 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and that is our first square. So what we've just done is that square there, and now we're going to go on to the next row. Now for the next row we're going to be here, we're going to be doing 1 square and then this square off in the diagonal. So we need to do an increase. So to do an increase we're going to do chain 6, 1, 2, 3. Now what I like to do is put my finger on that 3rd chain, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do a double crochet in that 4th chain, which is the one that I put my finger on, and we're going to do a double crochet and a double crochet in the next chain and then a double crochet in the next chain. So what we've just done is exactly the same thing. We've got a chain 3 and then 3 double crochets. Now what we are going to do is we now need to connect this square to this square. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip that over, and in what was our original chain 3 we're just going to do a single crochet, or actually I'm going to do a slip stitch. You can do a single crochet, a half double crochet or a slip stitch into that spot. I tend to use a slip stitch. And then what we're going to do is, because we've just done this square here, we now need to do this square here. So we're going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. And then what we're going to do in this space, we're going to do 3 double crochets. So we're going to do 1, 2 and 3. So now what we've got, if we turn it around slightly, we've got 1 square, 1 square and 1 square. So we've got the base square, which is this one here, and then we've got the one next to it, and then diagonally we've got the one next to that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fill in the gaps. We're going to have one here, and then one here. So we're going to be increasing again. So to do that, we're just going to do chain 6, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to move my hand up and hold that stitch. 1, 2, 3. It just makes it easier to go back into that stitch to be able to start your double crochets without continuously counting back 4 stitches. And then I'm going to do a double crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then flip the work around and do a slip stitch into that chain space, which is your chain 3 space, and then I'm going to create another chain 3. Let's get some more yarn. So we've got a chain 3. I'm going to do a double crochet, another double crochet, and one more double crochet, and then we're going to do a slip stitch into the chain 3, chain 3, and then do 3 double crochets into that chain 3 space. Now I'm going to show you next how to do changing the colour midway through a pattern. So if you look on this one here, I have a border of this black going through, and then I join in this yellow. So I'm going to show you how we do that. But first I need to get to that point. So I'm just going to do a couple more rows just to get to that point. Okay, now just putting that down there, I'm going to introduce some more yarn, and I've used this because it's quite a high contrast. I'm basically going to be doing exactly the same thing. I'm just going to be introducing a new colour. Now there's a couple of ways you can do this. I'm going to start by going back to my last yarn over. So I've got 2 stitches here, or 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to introduce my new yarn on my last yarn over. Pull that through. And then I'm going to join in here. Now in this particular instance, I need to carry this yarn over. When I'm making this project and I'm going to be doing, for example, I'm going to be doing black here, going through to quite a lot of yellow, and then going to black here, I won't be carrying the yarn through. I shall have a separate bobbin for this piece, a separate bobbin for this piece, and a separate bobbin for this piece. But in this instance, it's only going to be one square I'm skipping, so I'm quite happy to just carry the yarn over. So I'm going to make sure my yarn is at the back and over the top of my black yarn, so it's on top of my black, and then I'm going to do chain 3 with the black. I'm going to do a yarn over and I'm going to do a double crochet, making sure that my yarn that I'm carrying over is on top of my hook. I'm going to do a double crochet and another double crochet, again making sure that I'm still carrying that blue yarn over. It's on top of my hook. I'm going to go back, so I've got my 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to drop the black yarn. I don't need to worry about carrying that because I'm just going to go now carry on doing my squares. So chain 3, and then 3 double crochets, slip stitch into the top of that chain 3, and 3 double crochets into that stitch, and there we go. And then if I flip that round, what we have is this section here with this one here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches high. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares high. Sorry, not stitches, squares. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares high. So each of these is a square. So that is how you increase. Now, what we're going to do next is going to be a decrease. So there's 2 different versions of a decrease. You can have a square decrease, which is when the work is square, or you can have a rectangle decrease. This is how we're going to look at how you decrease to a square. So at the end of this we will have a square. So to start the decrease, we are going to flip the work, and I'm going to chain 1 actually. I do like to chain 1. And then we're going to do a slip stitch in the first stitch. We're going to do a slip stitch in the second stitch. And then I'm going to do a slip stitch into the third stitch. And then I'm going to do a slip stitch into the chain. My camera's just completely stopped focusing there, hasn't it? Into the chain. So we've now got a slip stitch into the chain, and then I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to do 3 double crochets into that stitch. And then, same as before, I'm just going to do a slip stitch into here. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3. And then 3 double crochets. So we're going back to the same pattern we were using before. 3 double crochets. Find our chain 3 space. Do a slip stitch. Chain 3. Double crochet 1. Double crochet 2. Double crochet 3. Slip stitch, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to find our chain 3. Find our chain 3, and we do a slip stitch into that space, but we're not going to increase anymore. So we're just going to do a chain 1 and turn, and we're going to do a slip stitch into the next double crochet, and then a slip stitch into the next double crochet, slip stitch into the next one, and then a slip stitch into the chain 3 space. And now if I lay this down, what you will see is we've now got a turn going this way. We've got the original start turn here, and then we've got a turn going here. So I'm just going to do that again. Now what is good about this, when you get to this point, is you end up with less and less stitches, or less and less squares to produce as you're going on. So once you get to this point, everything starts going really quick. I'll put in a picture of another one of my corner to corner patterns that I've done in the past, and it was a rectangle pattern. So once I got to the end of doing that, and it had a lot of rows to the pattern, so when I got to the point of the decreases, it did start going very, very quickly. So I'll just show you how to finish off on the last stitch. So this is the second to last square that we're just doing. Exactly the same thing. Chain 3 and then 3 double crochets. Going to slip stitch, turn the work, and then I'm going to slip stitch across to my chain 3 space. And as you can see, I literally just have this one square left to do. And what I have done in the past actually is I have actually created a pattern from little squares like this. So, and I've just slip stitched into that chain 3 space. So I've just slip stitched into that last chain 3 space, and then what I would do is I would just fasten off, and there is your square done. Now what I have done in the past is I have actually used a corner to corner square, which was 6 by 6, to create this pattern here, and I've done a corner to corner rectangle pattern to create this blanket here. I have to say that's probably one of my favourite blankets as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set myself up for a rectangle, and so I can show you how a rectangle one would go. Okay, so I've got myself back to this point where we are at a halfway point. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to carry on working if you're working in a rectangle. So my pattern, which is the stained glass window pattern, is a rectangle pattern. So what you would have done is you would have worked all the way up and down, 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 keep going up and down, and then you would have got to this point here. And this point here, you would have had to have closed off and started decreasing, whereas at this point, you would continue increasing. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do, how to decrease at one end and then increase at another end. So what we will do is we will have this end our decrease and this end is our increase end. Doesn't really matter, what your pattern will tell you which way round it will be. So we're going to increase as normal. That's our chain 6, and then 3 double crochets, slip stitch into that chain 3 space, chain 3, and our 3 double crochets. I'm just going to do that all the way along till I get to the end. And then what we're going to do, oh, let's get that in, shall we? So we're increasing at this end, but we're going to start decreasing at this end. So like the pattern, increase in this end and then decreasing at this end. And to do that, it's really, really simple. It's exactly the same as what we've seen. We're just going to do a slip stitch into that chain space, flip and turn the work, and then do our slip stitches across all 3 of those double crochets, slip stitch into that space, and then do chain 3 and then do your 3 double crochets. I'm just going to work back up this side, doing our chain 3, our 3 double crochets, and then we're going to do an increase on this edge, so we're going to do chain 3, 3 double crochets, and then our increase. And then we're going to just come back down. So I'll speed this up so you don't have to see it all. Now at this point we're going to be doing our decrease again. One more. So we're going to do a slip stitch, stop, chain 1, turn the work, or turn the work and chain 1. I just feel I find it easier to find my stitch if I do a chain 1. And there you go. And what you see is you've got the beginnings of a rectangle coming up. And you just keep working like that until you get to the end of your pattern. Oh, excuse me. So around about here somewhere you would have started closing in that end, and then you would have just started decreasing as you would as a square. So that is how you do the corner to corner blanket. So thanks very much for joining me for today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that jazz, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.